Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Polygon Live. We're here at E3 2014, checking out some games. I'm here with Arthur Geese. Welcome, Arthur.
Thank you.
And Dan from 343.
How you doing?
Welcome, Dan.
Thanks. Good to be here.
It is a delight to have you here, and you are here to talk about the Halo, the Master Chief Collection. Did I get that title right?
You absolutely did.
Okay, good.
Brand synergy here.
It's very important. We're going to look at some footage from Halo, the Master Chief Collection. This is the remastered version of Halo 2, correct?
That's right, yeah. I mean, November, obviously, the collection has all 4 games, Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4. But because November is the 10-year anniversary of Halo 2, we wanted to give it that full anniversary treatment, similar to how we did with the first one. So we've remastered all of the graphics. We've re-recorded the music up at Skywalker Sound with a full orchestra. Wow. New weapon effects, and we've gone big on cinematics this year, this time as well. So the cinematics for Halo 2 are being redone with Blur, and those are mind-blowingly cool. I can't wait to...
Were they not in engine before? I thought they were.
They were, right? Yeah, the cutscenes.
Yeah, so
there's using
a little magic.
A little magic.
A little magic.
But they presumably look very, very pretty.
They are, yeah. Even the early stuff is amazing. And of course, as you're seeing here, the dual wield, right? I mean, that was a big part of Halo 2. And obviously making its triumphant return.
Sure. And you're still able to switch back to the original graphics if you'd like.
Yeah, in fact, I think we're coming up to a spot here where we're going to do it. This is a good spot. Yeah, that was, I mean, we were really happy with how happy people were with this feature for the first one, because that's just a tremendous amount of nostalgia. You know, so I like to say, I think everyone can remember the first time they played a Halo game. And so yeah, anytime you just hit that button in gameplay and it's going to swap from, new to classic, and there you go. And what you may remember from the first one is it kind of faded in and faded back out, and now it's just instantaneous. And it's remarkable. I just have a ton of fun doing it. And even if you're right in the middle of combat, there's no delay. You can just snap right to it.
And it's sort of remarkable because in my memory, it looks like this. Like this is how I sort of close at least, and then you switch back to like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean it's
rose-colored lenses.
I mean, memory's a really, really funny thing, right? I can remember when we were demoing the first anniversary and starting in the new mode, and everyone's like, well, yeah, this is exactly how it looked 10 years ago, and then people hit that button. But even then, I think what's great about it is, for the time, it was mind-blowingly advanced, right? It was so far ahead, and even now, it still looks great.
Yeah.
It looks current-ish because it was one of the first console games to use normal maps really intensely.
Exactly.
So the question I'm sure everybody at home wants to know is, will there be normal map pop-in in the Halo 2 OG version?
As much as possible, we try to keep it exactly as it was, right? I mean, a big thing on the...
that is commitment.
No, so here's a funny story for you. So when we were doing the first anniversary, we actually had to maintain 2 bug lists, so we didn't accidentally fix a bug that was in the original one. And, so a lot of times we're doing reviews, and we're like, wait, is that a new... was that in there? Do we need to fix this? So, as much as possible, we're keeping those experiences intact, glitches and all.
With the original, it was the same frame rate between versions, and in this, with the remastered version, it's at 60.
Yes.
So, I have 2 questions. How is that? How is supporting that? Is that introducing new problems that you have to solve? Technically speaking?
Yeah, the whole challenge across the board, right? I mean, all of the multiplayer maps are, going to be 60 frames, 1080p, and all of these going to 60 they've introduced a few challenges to us, but honestly, not as terrible as I was afraid of. But again, it still plays exactly the same as you remember. It's just really smooth.
Well, and that's my other question, is that obviously the 60 frames per second should control better, since input polling and frame rate. Is that also a design concern for the multiplayer maps?
No, I mean, from a design standpoint, actually it's an easier problem for us on multiplayer than it is for us on campaign, because as we're trying to keep those glitches intact, moving to 60 and doing some other changes, actually we've inadvertently fixed some of those glitches by doing that.
What is that meeting like where, guys, we fixed the bug?
Everyone just kind of goes, oh, and looks down. But no, that whole process of bringing it up has actually been a tremendous amount of fun. And you can really see the difference even in, back at the studio, we had, we got 2 identical TVs, and we put Halo 4 on 360 and the Xbox One version here, and we put them side to side. And even this was early days where we had just brought it up to 1080p 1080p, and we had it going at 60. And just even that early, the difference was remarkable, and it was really, really great having the artists on 4 come in and look at the Xbox One version and go, that's how we wanted it to look. You know, it's almost like going from regular DVD up to Blu-ray. You know, everything's a lot sharper.
Sure.
Everything pops a lot better.
Going back to Halo 2 for a second, you're using the PC code base.
Correct.
As a starting point for the
as a starting point, yeah. There's a combination of things in there, and obviously there's a lot of console code in there as well to make sure that we're still keeping that original gameplay style intact. But yeah, we started off of a base of the PC code.
Interesting. How important is sort of these standards of 60 frames, 1080p moving forward for the franchise? How important is that?
Well, I mean, you guys, when you start playing the beta, you know, you're going to see it. And, you know, Bonnie last year, our GM at E3, talked about 60 frames per second. You know, that's something we're certainly committed to.
Yeah.
And, you know, this has been a great exercise in moving down that road. And it's been great for us, too, to, you know, just to play Halo at 60 frames per second. You see a lot of, you know, it opens up a lot of doors for us.
Sure.
I mean, what are some of those doors? Like, what is the difference between 30 frames per second Halo and 60 frames per second Halo?
I mean, what I found throughout the development of this, and you know, I can speak to that, is it definitely feels smoother, and we've got the combination too going of you know, better hardware and all of that stuff, which makes this exercise obviously easier for us as well. But it feels smoother, it feels faster. The gameplay just manages to feel more intense as well. You feel like you're a lot more in the action. So it's actually been a lot of fun.
Sure. In terms of the overall package, is that like, it's just like so much content? How do you wrangle like, even just the QA effort seems like a major undertaking.
I thought QA was going to smack me. Like when we got to the multiplayer portion in particular, we're going through this and what we want to do, and they're like, okay, we got the offering. Like, well, how are you going to handle the multiplayer? And I'm like, oh no, we're doing it all. Like, well, what does that mean? I'm like, well, it is literally every multiplayer map that's ever shipped on 1, 2, 3, and 4 on PC or console will be in the game. And there's just kind of this, like, we're going to need a bigger boat comment that kind of that starts up, because, yeah, it just turns into a massive QA effort. And add to that to the fact that these maps run on their original multiplayer engines to boot, right? So if you launch a Halo 3 map, it's launching into the Halo 3 multiplayer engine. Same for a 4 map or a Halo 1 map.
So how many permutations of Halo engine are running on this disc?
So that's a great question. So
is it 6?
On multiplayer, you've actually got 5 engines. So you've got the original Halo 1 multiplayer, which is going to be a lot of fun because for the first time you can actually play Halo 1 multiplayer on Xbox Live. You've got the original Halo 2 multiplayer. You've got the Halo 3 multiplayer. You've got the Halo 4 multiplayer. And then, you know, we talked about these 6 recreated Halo 2 maps that we've done with Certain Affinity. That's running on a 5th kind of like more modern engine that's a modification of Halo 2. So on the Halo 2 side, you've got the original Halo 2 engine exactly as it shipped 10 years ago, and then you've got these 6 reimagined maps that we've done on a new engine that is a derivative of Halo 2.
So are those like a separate playlist, for lack of a better term? Or if you jump into, can you jump into Halo Master Chief multiplayer and just like have it randomly sort through every map?
You can actually. So yeah, that was actually, you touched on one of the big questions. We were like, how the heck are we going to curate all this?
Yeah.
So from a multiplayer standpoint, you can absolutely elect, oh, I want to play Halo 4 multiplayer or Halo 3. Like, you can be that specific.
Right.
But assume you just want to pop into a game. We've pivoted on playlists. So, you know, you go in and you say, oh, I want a Slayer game. You know, you hit the button, you go in, and when you get to the voting screen, you're going to get 3 maps that'll just be selected from amongst all of them. So say, for example, you go in and you've got, just for simplicity, a map from 1, a map from 2, a map from 3.
Sure.
Those are going to show up with a little icon in them that will literally say 1, 2, or 3, so you know which multiplayer engine you'll be launching into when that goes. And that just becomes a really nice and clean way for us to, you know, curate that content and to make sure you're not like ripping your hair out trying to get through all of this.
Sure, and if one of those is a Halo 4 map, how does it work with like curating like player class creation, stuff like that? Like, how does, like, are you setting a default class before you jump in, or?
For a multiplayer
Yeah,
side? Yeah, I mean, so you're going to pick your game type before you hop in there.
Okay.
So, yeah, you'll choose, like, so, oh, I want to play a Slayer game, or I want to play Capture the Flag, or I want to play something like that. And then when you pick that, you will launch into that.
Okay,
that
and when you're in, you could obviously do all the things that game allows.
Exactly.
Sure. Let's talk about the beta for a bit. Obviously, you know, people that pick up this will get access to the Halo 5 beta. can you speak to like what exactly is going to be in the beta? What are people going to be able to experience?
Yeah, I mean, we gave a very high-level tease at the conference, right? So the beta is going to be launching at the end of December, and we're going to be giving a sneak peek at some arena-style gameplay. And there was, I think, we've been getting a lot of questions since then of, what's the Spartan ability, right?
Sure.
A lot of people have been thinking that means armor abilities, which is not the case. So there will not be armor abilities. Spartan abilities are something new that we'll be talking about as we get closer.
I mean, is the beta a thank you, or are you actually planning to get metrics and learn from that? Because that is probably, like, Halo's done betas before, but this is by far the most far in advance that you've ever done a beta, because going by previous Halo releases, you're at least 9 months, if not longer.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely
from
right.
the game release.
We generally do these a lot closer, right? And the trouble with that is you do a beta 3 months before launch, you're not really able to change much, right?
Yeah.
At that point, it really turns into more of like making sure our servers are going to stack up and all of that good stuff. So no, you're bang on. By doing it at this point, we're going to collect a tremendous amount of information. We're going to be able to have a dialogue with people. Hey, what did you like? What didn't you like? How could we tweak this? And that's the reason we're doing it so early, that we're able to get it out there and start to get some information from people and start making adjustments on our side. And of course, it's a thank you at the same time as with this whole collection.
Sure. I know that, obviously, again, you guys are not saying a whole lot about Halo 5. I was curious, though, what were some of the takeaways you got from Halo 4? Obviously, a lot of people like certain elements. Certain elements maybe didn't click with people the best. The story, I know some people had some struggle connecting with the story. How are you guys sort of addressing that with Halo 5?
Yeah, I mean, we did hear, I think, as I always say, the great thing about Halo fans is they'll tell you what they think, right? And, we got a lot of really good feedback from people, and we've learned a lot ourselves. I mean, this was the first 4 was the first major release coming out of 3.4.3.4. So we've learned a tremendous amount on our side through that process, just ourselves, and from the feedback from the community. Obviously, we're not saying at this point how we've taken that feedback and actioned on it, but we have absolutely learned a lot.
Okay. Cool. And how long will the beta be running for? Or
the beta is going to run for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So that's going to be a good chance for a lot of people to get in. It's going to be a long enough period for us to get a lot of information and see how people are playing and what's jiving and what's not.
Sure.
How, in terms of previous Halo betas, how comprehensive is this beta? Like, will we see just 1 or 2 game types? Will there be like just a map or a couple of maps? Like, how indicative of Halo 5's multiplayer will this beta be?
This is going to be indicative of a sliver, and exactly what it is, what's going to be in there, what we're showcasing, what kind of types, all of that good stuff. We're going to be talking more about that in a few months.
Any other questions, Arthur?
Can you speak a little bit to how Forge works? And I've seen Forge and campaign in the same sentences, and that's not something I've seen previously, unless it's just picking like skulls for multiplayer.
No, yeah, I mean, there's been some confusion around Forge that we've seen flying around this week. So at a high level, and we'll be talking more about details, but what I can tell you at this point at a high level, you will have Forge in Halo 3, Halo 4, exactly as you did, and for the reimagined maps of Halo 2, will be forgeable as well.
Seems like a lot of maps.
That's the most maps I think I've seen in anything since like Unreal Tournament 2004.
And those are all user-made.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well,
yeah, a lot of content in there, no doubt. Yeah. And then there's, of course, the live action series as well, which we announced that we're doing with Ridley Scott.
I do have one slightly bizarre question that I think some Halo fans might be curious about with regards to Forge. Obviously, Halo multiplayer maps are designed with specific vehicles on them.
Yes.
And now you have Halo maps from every game. Like, is there any potential to see Halo objects from one era of Halo in another era's maps? Like, could I have a Halo CE or a Halo 2 Warthog in a Halo 4 map? Is that something that's possible?
Oh, and you're talking specifically from a Forge standpoint at this point? I will say stick around, and we will absolutely...
I want like a low-res Warthog. Can we do that?
Yeah, right?
That'd be awesome.
Like a Halo CE, it doesn't sound like there's not going to be Forge for Halo 2 Anniversary and Halo CE, but like the ability to have like the pixelated Mario version of
that
Halo
would be
stuff.
pretty fun.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to that. I know Arthur doesn't care about playing the beta. I'll definitely be playing the beta.
Oh yeah, clearly. I don't
on,
really
Arthur.
care for Halo multiplayer.
Thank you so much for coming by.
Oh no, happy to.
We are very excited about the whole project and obviously Halo 5 coming in the future. So that's exciting stuff too.
No, thanks a lot.
And thanks for watching. We'll be here all week at E3 2014, checking out the latest and greatest games, including Halo, the Master Chief Collection. Keep it locked on Polygon.com.